Picture this. A stray dog crosses 6 lanes of traffic to sit at your feet. A bird flies directly into your window, not once, but 3 times in the same week. Your neighbor's cat that has never approached anyone before starts following you home. And last Tuesday, a deer stood motionless on your path for 7 minutes, staring directly into your eyes without blinking. You told yourself these were coincidences, random events, nature being unpredictable, but deep down, in a place you barely let yourself acknowledge, you knew something else was happening, something ancient, something that has been trying to get your attention your entire life. Before I go any further, subscribe to this channel right now. What you are about to hear was systematically erased from Christian teaching in the 4th century. If you navigate away from this video, the algorithm may never show you this information again. Subscribe now so you do not lose access to what comes next. There is a teaching that Jesus gave to his closest followers about why certain people have always had an unusual relationship with animals, not the ability to train them. Not some Disney fantasy about talking to creatures, something far more profound and far more unsettling to the religious authorities who rewrote history. In the Gospel of Thomas, saying 7, Jesus says something that scholars have debated for centuries. He says, "Blessed is the lion which becomes man when consumed by man, and cursed is the man whom the lion consumes, and the lion becomes man." For 1700 years, theologians have tried to explain this away as metaphor, but the Gnostic initiates who preserved the original teachings knew exactly what Jesus meant. He was describing recognition, the ability of the animal kingdom to perceive what most humans cannot see, the presence of the divine spark, the mark of the monad, the signature that identifies a chosen one. Animals do not see you the way humans see you. Humans see your clothes, your face, your social status, your performance of normalcy. Animals see your frequency. And when the monad has marked you, when you carry the pneumatic signature, animals respond in ways that defy their natural programming. Right now, place your hand over your heart. Think back to every strange animal encounter you have ever had, the moments that seemed too odd to be random but too subtle to mention, the bird that landed on your shoulder, the dog that wouldn't stop staring at you in the park, the butterfly that followed you for 3 blocks. These were not accidents. These were confirmations. Tonight you are going to understand exactly what these encounters mean, why they happen to you and not to others, and what responsibility comes with being recognized by creation itself. If you have experienced unexplained animal behavior directed at you, comment the words, "They see me." This is not just engagement. This is your acknowledgement that you are ready to receive what the church buried, because it threatened their entire system of control. To understand why animals act strangely around you, we must first understand what happened in the beginning. Not the beginning that you were taught in Sunday school, but the actual cosmology that Jesus taught to his inner circle. The Apocryphon of John, discovered in Egypt in 1945, describes the true creation story. At the highest level exists the monad, pure consciousness, the source beyond all sources, the one that cannot be named or limited. From the monad emanated the pleroma, the realm of fullness, populated by divine beings called aeons. But one of these aeons, Sophia, acted without her consort and brought forth a flawed creation, the demiurge. This being, ignorant of anything beyond himself, declared, "I am God, and there is no other." The demiurge then created the material world, this dense realm of matter and forgetting. He fashioned it as a prison designed to trap divine sparks in bodies of flesh, cut off from remembrance of their true origin. But here is what the demiurge did not account for. When he created the animals, he made them without the rational mind that he gave to humans. He thought this made them inferior. He thought this made them controllable. He was wrong. The rational mind became the primary tool of deception. It is what allows humans to lie to themselves, to ignore their intuition, to accept absurdity as normal. Animals were never given this capacity for self-deception. They remained pure perception. They see energy directly. They sense frequency without interference. And this means they can detect the one thing the demiurge tried to hide: the presence of monad sparks incarnated in human bodies. You are one of these sparks. And every animal that has ever acted strangely around you was responding to what you actually are, not what you appear to be. Think about the story of Jesus in the wilderness. Matthew, Mark, and Luke all mention that wild animals were with him, but they provide no details. The church preferred it that way. But the secret Gospel of Mark, fragments of which were discovered in 1958, contains a passage that never made it into your Bible. It describes Jesus sitting among lions, wolves, and serpents, all of them peaceful in his presence, not because he controlled them, but because they recognized him. They saw the fullness of the monad signature radiating from his being, and in that presence their demiurgic programming dissolved. Now, pay close attention, because this is critical. Animals were programmed by the demiurge to follow certain patterns: hunt, hide, reproduce, survive. These instincts create predictable behavior. But when an animal comes into proximity with a chosen one, someone carrying an active monad signature, their programming glitches. The frequency you emit disrupts the demiurgic control structure. For a moment, sometimes longer, the animal remembers something older than its instincts. It recognizes the signature of true divinity, and it responds. This is not about animals liking you. This is about animals perceiving what you are and acting outside their nature because of it. Let me give you the 7 signs. The 7 specific animal behaviors that indicate you have been marked by the monad. Each sign represents approximately 2,140 characters of teaching, and by the end you will understand exactly why these encounters have followed you throughout your life. The first sign is the approach of the untamed. Wild animals, strays, creatures that have no reason to trust humans, approach you without fear. This defies survival instinct. Every animal in the wild is programmed to maintain distance from humans. We are predators in their perception. Danger, threat, to be avoided. But you have had stray dogs walk directly up to you as if they know you. You have had wild birds land near you and stay. You have had squirrels, rabbits, even deer hold their ground when you approach instead of fleeing. The demiurge programmed fear into the animal kingdom as a control mechanism. Fear keeps animals predictable. Fear maintains separation. But the monad frequency overrides fear because it emanates truth. Animals sense no deception in you. The predatory frequency that humans normally emit, the frequency of ego and separation, is muted in your presence. What animals detect instead is the signature of the source, and they are drawn to it the same way all consciousness is drawn toward reunion with the monad. In the Pistis Sophia, Jesus tells Mary Magdalene that those who carry the light attract all living things, because all living things originated from the same light and seek return to it. Most humans have buried their light so deep under layers of conditioning that animals cannot detect it. But you, whether you realize it or not, have never fully buried yours. It leaks out, it broadcasts, and animals respond. The second sign is the prolonged stare. An animal locks eyes with you and holds your gaze far longer than normal behavior would explain. This is not casual observation. This is recognition attempting to occur. In the animal kingdom, direct eye contact is either a threat display or a bonding mechanism. When a predator stares at prey, it signals attack. When pack animals stare at each other, it establishes hierarchy. But when an animal stares at you, neither of these dynamics is at play. The Gnostic text called the Hypostasis of the Archons describes how the powers of this world control through the eyes. The gaze is a transmission point. When humans stare at each other, they are often unconsciously attempting to dominate or assess threat. But when an animal holds your gaze, something entirely different is happening. They are reading your frequency, matching it, and confirming what they sense. The stare is a scan. You have experienced this. A cat you have never met stares at you from across a room for minutes. A dog on the street stops walking and locks eyes with you until its owner pulls it away. A bird on a branch turns its head and watches you with an intensity that feels almost human. These are not random moments. Each one is the animal kingdom bearing witness to what you carry. The monad signature creates a resonance that animals instinctively investigate. They are checking, is this real? Is this what I think it is? And when they confirm it, they often move to the third sign. The third sign is protective circling. Animals position themselves around you as if guarding you from something unseen. Dogs that are not yours create a perimeter when you are present. Birds circle overhead repeatedly when you are outside. Even insects seem to swarm near you but not land on you. This behavior has a specific origin in the hidden teachings. The Demiurge created archons, rulers of this lower realm who function as enforcement mechanisms. They are non-physical entities that exist at a frequency just beyond normal human perception. Their job is to keep humans locked in fear, distraction, and spiritual amnesia. But archons have a problem. They cannot directly perceive the monad frequency. It is too high, too pure for them to detect. However, they can sense disturbances in their control grid. When a chosen one is present, when someone with an active divine spark moves through the world, the archon influence weakens in that area. The frequency you emit creates a field that disrupts their operation. Animals, because they perceive energy directly, can sense both you and the archons. And when they detect archon presence near a monad carrier, many animals instinctively move into protective positions. This is not conscious strategy on the animal's part. This is ancient recognition. The animal kingdom was created after the archons. But unlike humans, animals were never fully deceived about the nature of this reality. Some part of their consciousness remains connected to the pleroma, the realm of fullness, and they recognize chosen ones as allies in a war most humans do not even know is being fought. When animals circle you, they are not protecting your body. They are reinforcing your field. The fourth sign is the sacrifice appearance. Dead animals, particularly birds, appear in your path with no apparent cause. This is the sign that disturbs people the most, and understandably so. You walk outside and there is a dead bird on your doorstep. You find a deceased animal in a location you frequent, but there is no evidence of how it died. This happens repeatedly, and you start to feel haunted by it. But this is not a curse. This is a transmission. In the Gospel of Philip, there is a line that most readers skip over. Death is feared by those who do not know what it reveals. The Gnostics understood death completely differently than the Church taught. Death is not punishment. Death is transition. It is the moment when the divine spark, if present, is released from the prison of matter. When animals die near you or appear dead in your path, what is actually happening is a frequency exchange. The departing consciousness of the animal in its final moments of transition is drawn to the monad signature you carry. Your presence eases the transition. You function as a beacon that guides the consciousness out of the material trap and back towards source. This is why shamans and mystics throughout history have reported the same phenomenon. It is not that they attract death. It is that the dying are attracted to them. Your energy serves as a doorway, and animals in the process of leaving their bodies instinctively move toward that doorway. It is not morbid. It is sacred. You are serving a function in the spiritual ecosystem that most humans are completely unaware of. Every dead animal you have found was a soul you helped transition. Whether you knew it or not, you were acting as a psychopomp, a guide between worlds. The fifth sign is behavioral reversal. Animals act in complete opposition to their nature when you are present. Aggressive dogs become calm. Skittish cats approach. Predatory birds land near you. Insects that normally bite do not. This is the clearest proof of the monad effect because it cannot be explained by normal animal behavior models. A dog that barks at every stranger goes silent when you approach. A cat that hides from everyone sits in your lap within minutes. A horse that throws every rider stands perfectly still when you are near. The Testimony of Truth, another Nag Hammadi text, speaks of the serpent in Eden not as a villain, but as a liberator. The serpent told Eve the truth, that eating from the tree would open her eyes. The demiurge, the false god, wanted humanity blind and obedient. The serpent represented gnosis, direct knowing. And here is the key. The serpent recognized in Eve the capacity for awakening. It saw the divine spark and acted to activate it. This is the same principle at work when animals reverse their nature around you. They are not being trained or manipulated. They are responding to the presence of truth. Your frequency tells them, without words, that the normal rules do not apply. The fear programming, the aggression programming, the survival at all costs programming, all of it weakens in proximity to someone who emanates the monad signature. You create a temporary zone of Eden, a pocket of reality where the demiurge's control loosens and animals revert to their original pre-fall state of peace. The sixth sign is the synchronistic swarm. You see the same animal or type of animal repeatedly in a short time span in ways that defy probability. 3 butterflies in one day when you have not seen one in months. 4 separate encounters with owls in a single week. Repeated sightings of a specific bird or creature that seems to appear wherever you go. The rational mind tries to dismiss this as confirmation bias. You are just noticing what was always there. But chosen ones know the difference between noticing and being followed. In the secret book of John, Jesus explains that the monad communicates through patterns, through synchronicities, through repetition that breaks the normal flow of chaos. The material world operates on entropy and randomness, but the monad operates on meaning and order. When you are being guided, when you are being confirmed in your path, the monad uses the animal kingdom as messengers. Not because animals carry verbal messages, but because their appearance creates resonance. Each encounter is a beat in a rhythm, a note in a song that your soul recognizes even when your mind does not. Different animals carry different frequencies. Birds represent messages from higher realms. Serpents represent transformation and gnosis. Cats represent independence and seeing beyond the veil. Dogs represent loyalty to truth. When the same animal appears repeatedly, pay attention to what that animal symbolizes in the ancient teachings, not in modern superstition. The monad is speaking to you in a language older than words, and the animals are the alphabet. The seventh sign is the mass witness. Multiple animals of different species respond to you at the same time. You walk into a park, and dogs, birds, and squirrels all turn toward you simultaneously. You stand in your yard, and insects, birds, and a neighborhood cat all converge in your space. This is not Disney. This is something the Gnostics called the harmonic event. When your monad signature is particularly active, when you are in a state of alignment or on the verge of a major activation, your frequency broadcasts more powerfully. And every creature within range that has the sensitivity to detect it will respond. The Sophia of Jesus Christ describes moments when the chosen ones would gather and the very air around them would shimmer with presence. Animals would cease their normal activities. The wind would still. Reality itself would seem to pause. This is the monad breaking through the demiurge's constructed reality, and everything with consciousness recognizes it. When multiple species respond to you at once, you are experiencing a tear in the veil. The material world is thin in that moment, and what you actually are is shining through so brightly that the entire animal kingdom in proximity bears witness. Now let me tell you what this all means. If you have experienced even 3 of these 7 signs, you are carrying an active monad signature. The divine spark within you is not dormant, it is broadcasting. And whether you have understood it or not, you have been walking through this world marked, recognized by creation, and serving functions you were never told about. This recognition comes with profound responsibilities that the Gnostic masters understood completely. Being recognized by creation is not a passive state, it is a call to action. The reason the animals respond to you is not for your ego gratification. It is because you are meant to be a bridge, a conduit for the monad's frequency to stabilize the surrounding environment. The responsibility of the monad carrier. The demiurge's construct, this material world, thrives on separation and entropy. It is a realm of forgetting. Your presence as a carrier of the active monad signature introduces an anomaly, a pocket of remembering. The animals are simply reflecting that anomaly. Your first responsibility is conscious alignment. You must stop acting like the programmed human the demiurge designed you to be. Every time you operate from fear, ego, or judgment, you dim your monad spark, and the animal response around you will weaken. You must consciously choose gnosis, direct knowing, over belief. This means trusting the evidence of the animals more than the rules of society. When a wild creature approaches you without fear, that is a direct instruction. Phi, be fearless. When a dog stares at you with unwavering loyalty, that is an imperative. Be true. Your actions have ripple effects. The Gnostic treatise Zostrianos speaks of the luminous image left by the awakened ones. This image is your frequency signature, and it lingers in the places you inhabit, subtly altering the energetic landscape. When you are consciously aligned, every place you stand becomes a temporary sanctuary, a micropleroma where the archonic influence is muted. This is the unseen service the animals are acknowledging. For those who exhibit the mass witness, the seventh sign, a specific test often arises, the test of the serpent. This is not a literal snake, but a representation of raw, untamed, transformative energy. It can manifest as a crisis of identity, a sudden and dramatic encounter with a repressed shadow, or a situation that forces you to confront the deepest lies you tell yourself. Remember the Gnostic view of the serpent, the liberator who offered gnosis. When the monad spark begins to burn too brightly, the residual demiurgic programming in your own psyche attempts to extinguish it through self-doubt, panic, and a sudden urge to retreat back into normalcy. The test of the serpent is the choice between shedding the skin of your former self and remaining coiled in the familiar, suffocating darkness. If you have seen the mass witness, expect a period of intense internal upheaval. The purpose of this test is to ensure that the bridge you are becoming is sturdy enough to handle the full transmission of the monad's light. The animals will be most responsive during this time, clustering around you as if to lend their pure, unadulterated perception to your struggle. They are affirming your path, urging you to trust the gnosis, not the fear. We touched on the fourth sign, the sacrifice appearance, where you act as a psychopomp for departing animal consciousness. This is far more than a morbid coincidence. It is a vital role in the spiritual ecosystem. In the Gnostic tradition, every living thing contains a fragment of consciousness that longs for return to the source. The demiurge's trap is the material cycle of reincarnation, the endless loop of forgetting and rebirth designed to keep sparks trapped in his domain. Your active monad signature creates a release valve. When a creature's consciousness transitions near you, it is drawn to your frequency because it offers a direct, clear path out of the demiurgic control grid. You are a lighthouse in the fog of matter. By being present, by holding your light steady, you are facilitating the soul's escape, ensuring it bypasses the normal mechanisms of forgetting and is reintegrated into the pleroma. To fulfill this role consciously, you must practice non-attachment to outcome. When you encounter this sign, do not allow human emotional programming, grief, horror, guilt, to interfere. Instead, silently acknowledge the passing consciousness and project your highest frequency, a wave of unconditional love and pure light. This act, done consciously, amplifies your psychopomp function, easing the transition for countless sparks. The Church buried these teachings because they empowered the individual and rendered their structures obsolete. They wanted you to believe that power flowed through them. The animals reveal the truth. The power flows through you. The constant confirmation you receive from the animal kingdom, the approach of the untamed, the prolonged stare, the protective circling, is an ongoing validation that you are not lost, you are not alone, and you are not insignificant. You are a key player in the quiet war for consciousness, recognized and affirmed by creation itself. The next step is to move beyond mere recognition and step fully into the responsibility of conscious alignment, becoming the stable, unwavering bridge that both the monad and the animal kingdom are counting on. The Church removed these teachings because they reveal something that destroys religious authority. You do not need anyone to tell you that you are connected to Source. The animals already confirm it. You do not need a priest to mediate between you and the divine. The birds, the dogs, the wild creatures that approach you are already bearing witness to what you are. Comment the words, Creation recognizes me if you are ready to accept what this means. This is your declaration that you will no longer doubt what the animals have been showing you your entire life. Place both hands on your chest right now. Feel your heartbeat. That rhythm is the monad expressing itself through matter. And every animal that has ever acted strangely around you was synchronizing with that rhythm, confirming that beneath the flesh, beyond the programming, you are a fragment of the eternal source wearing a temporary disguise. Subscribe to this channel because the next teaching reveals what happens when you consciously work with the animal kingdom as confirmation of your path. Turn on notifications so you do not miss it. Like this video so others who have experienced these signs can find their way here and know they are not insane. You were marked before you were born. The animals have always known. Now you do too.